Are you somebody who gets overwhelmed, who procrastinates a lot? Maybe you think of yourself as a perfectionist and you get stuck and you don't really feel like you ever get anything done. Well, I'm going to share with you one skill that is going to be super helpful for you, and this will apply whether you are running a business or just in your life in general, and that is how to build a process. Now, don't get overwhelmed by this skill. I'm going to make it very simple. There is no software for you to learn. It is just a little bit of a structure, and once you have got that in place, then you'll see why it is that you are procrastinating and what to do about it. So we're going to walk through a few steps that will help you to build a process. And the great thing is that even if you don't have all of these steps in place, any one of them is already going to improve your situation from where you are if you are overwhelmed or procrastinating. So you don't have to learn all of this at once. But it's really very, very simple. You can apply this for something small, like for example, registering a warranty when you've just bought a new appliance. Or you can apply it for something big, a big project, like applying for a new job or building a product in your business, taking on a new product, or moving house. Okay, so what is all of this? Well, first of all, we want to start with, why do we even care about this process? What's the problem that we are addressing? And we really want to cover this in two areas. First, what's the positive? What are the carrots that you are going to get if you get this thing done that you've been putting off? And the other one is, well, what are the sticks? Sometimes they can be even more of a motivation. If I don't get this bill paid, if I don't get this bit organized, if I don't get back to them, I'm going to miss out on this opportunity. So focusing on the why is really important, because we want to know how much buy-in you've got to this project. That's often a reason for procrastination, is you don't really believe that it's going to be worth it. So let's say that we've got through the why. Now we're going to ask, well, what is it? What is it that we're actually going to create here? What does it look like? What is its impact? What difference is it going to make for you, for others? Am I going to work on this? If I put this off, does it really matter? If I don't do it at all, and if I don't do it at all, does it really matter? What is the outcome? And you really want to get as much clarity around this as you can without procrastinating. But say, well, hey, once I have written this chapter of the book, I'll be able to start my mailing list and start a waiting list so that people will actually buy my book. Okay? Taking on any project, you're going to have a number of prerequisites, and this can be a real big roadblock for people. And there's a few traps here as well. Like, you think, well, before I do this, before I take this on, okay, I want to sell something online. I want to sell something on Facebook Marketplace. I had to do that last week, and I hadn't done it before. So I need certain knowledge. I need particular skills. I need the tools. Okay, that could be software, it could be some physical tools. Maybe I need some materials or ingredients as well. And I need the opportunity. There are probably other prerequisites that you need. Now, this is where you can get really held back, because you can sort of say, I'm a lifelong learner. I want to learn more and more about this. I am not ready. So too with your skills. Now, you might say, well, yeah, but I'm not really qualified. I don't have these skills yet. Well, for some things, you've got more than enough skills. For many things you have. Similar thing with the tools. This can be a real trap. When I teach people about software and how to use it, a lot of questions often come up. What software should I use? What software? What tools? What apps? And very often you don't actually need any tools, and people often jump into the tools too early, don't learn them, don't use them. So too with the materials. Depends on what it is that you're making, but initially it all comes down to this big why and what's the outcome that we're after, right? And then, do I have the opportunity, or is there something that is this an opportunity that I can create, or is it a bit kind of pie in the sky thing that I really shouldn't be focusing on at the moment? Now actually, let me just show you one other thing here, is that because these things can all be roadblocks, I'm not ready. I don't have the skills, I don't have the knowledge. These, just being aware that they are roadblocks is really, really valuable, because then you can say, you know what, I've got enough knowledge, I've got enough skills for the moment. I don't need to be a world expert on video to be able to create my first YouTube video, for example. I've got some basic tools, that's all I need. Being aware that if you are working on a project where you can already tick the minimum boxes here, I've already got enough here, then that can get you moving really quickly. As well as the prerequisites, we've got some inputs, some things that are really part of the project itself, okay? So they could be, once again, the ingredients, the tools, and so on that you actually need, especially those things that you need right now in order to move ahead. If you're using some software, you need to have, maybe you've got to have a license for the software, you've got to have a subscription, you've got to have access to the passwords, certain information, whatever it might be. Okay, so these are all inputs. Now I haven't given any detail here, but they could be all kinds of things. But so the prerequisites are just more kind of general things that you might have just as a rule you've got in your back pocket. I've got these skills, I don't need them right now. But the inputs are what you need right now. So to give an example with cooking, the prerequisites is, well, I've got the tools, I've got the utensils in the kitchen, I've got the oven, and I've got the skills to cook. But the inputs are going to be the ingredients right now that I need right now, that are going to be pretty much consumed. They're going to be used within the project itself. Now, when we come to the outputs, we're asking, well, what are we going to do with this? This is similar to the outcome here. So, okay, because we've got these inputs, but some of those inputs are like, once we've got them, once we've got that knowledge, we've got past it, we don't need to use them again. But the outputs are things that are what's going to get generated. Okay, what's going to get created here. So the inputs here might be, for example, I've got the grammar when I'm writing. I've got to have a certain style and grammar and so on. But once that's done, it's done. I don't need to worry about that. But the outputs, yeah, okay, I've created a new book, and now I need to share this with somebody. I need to share this with an editor, or I need to publish it. Okay, and usually those outputs are not only going to affect you, they're going to affect somebody else. Who else needs to know about this? So if your process is around, for example, paying a bill, and you might introduce bill smoothing, so you pay an exact amount or a very similar amount each month, for example, and that evens out the hills and the troughs, so that you've got that predictability about that. Gives you more sense of control. Well, who needs to know about that? Well, if you are paying that bill for a utility, for the water company or the power company, they need to know about that you want to set up this bill smoothing thing. Okay, that's pretty much it, but these two are really bonuses. The first one is repeatability. And what I mean by that is that if I've got a process that I can call on, I can go back to, I can grab that and use it again, then what that means is that when I come to the prerequisites, I've already got all of these things, or most of these things, in place already. And so that makes it a process that I can use again and again, and I can keep refining it. But the fact that it's repeatable means that I'm not being driven just by interruptions or by something that's just popping up in my inbox or notifications and things like that. It's got a repeatability about it. That's really, really powerful. Similarly, scheduling. If this is something that is not driven by interruption, but it's something that it's got a predictability about it, then that's a good thing as well. I can say, well, I know that every week I check the tires in my car. Okay, I know that I check the tires on my car, and so I'm going to do that every Monday afternoon or something like that. And so once you've got those scheduling and repeatability, that takes away some of that fear, that interruption, that feeling stuck that necessarily happens when you are procrastinating. So there we are. How to build a process. Why do you build it? What's the outcome? What are the prereqs? What inputs do you need? And what outputs is this going to generate? And once you do that, you can apply this simple model right throughout your life, in your business, and just in your life in general.